Hi, my name is Forrest. I'm not tired right now, but I will be eventually. This is going to be a video on vertical hand stops, okay? Hand stops, anything like that. But what I am saying in this video does not apply to things that have super short barrels where you're using that for an increased risk of, out of an increased risk of safety because of the barrel is so short your hand might walk in front of things. This gun is unloaded, visually and physically checked. And we're just going to be showing you why you don't want to. Obviously, you're not going to use any of these benefits on a 7.5 inch AR in chambered in 9mm, but we are going to use a 11.5 inch with a blast deflector that I like to kind of demonstrate some points. So yeah. All right. So point number one is going to be shooting off of a barricade, bag, or in the prone. Let's just talk about while doing prone. While doing prone, depending on how long your vertical grip is, it may cause you to get off the ground or pivot off of that particularly. That's not great. It can also apply uneven tension to your handguard, and if you don't have a free float barrel, that'll be a bigger issue, but most ARs do these days. But let's talk about specifically shooting off of a barricade or a bag in this position. If you have a vertical foregrip, you're now this much higher off, which makes it a lot more uncomfortable when you're shooting in the prone, but also limits your position to where you can put the thing on here. You may have to, especially if your rail isn't particularly long, you may have to accept the fact that you're even higher up off the ground now. Or you may, it's just that I have more options here. I can move this barrel forward or backwards when shooting like this, right? Or I can choose to get my hand anywhere on or around this and keep it pressed against the bag for a low profile. Now let's talk about another example. All right. Now, not all barricades are perfectly underneath the gun. You may have to take a shot like this. Anybody who's ever lived on a ranch or on a farm has had to do that. If you have a hand stop, that might not be hard to do. You can always go around the side or whatever. But when you have that hand stop there, it limits at least one position that you no longer can use because your thumb won't be able to come over. Now that may only make up for an inch or two, but that is an inch or two that matters, right? But let's talk about the most important example here. This is a lawn chair. In this case, it's just going to simulate our barricade. You may not be able to work your way all the way onto a barricade or all the way off. You may have a less than advisable shooting position. The world is not set up for you to shoot off of it. It's its own kind of thing, right? And so you need to be prepared to shoot off of anything. If you have a big old fucking vertical thing coming out of the bottom of your gun, you may not be able to push all the way onto this. You may not be able to, depending on your hand grip or whatever, right? That limits your positioning and where you can hold this gun, right? On top of that, weight on the front of your gun is always bad. There are things that you will trade off there, in this case a laser, but being able to pull in, out, whatever, right, wherever I decide I need to do this is good for me. And this rifle, if I put a vertical foregrip on here, it's completely set up for me, and that might be comfortable for doing this weird kinky hand shit, which it's not. You'll convince yourself it is, but it's really not. The human hand is meant to do this and point over at the target with your thumb. When you start introducing hand stops, your thumb starts going over. But when you hand this rifle off to somebody else, that hand stop isn't set up for them. The stock isn't set up for them. When they go shortening back here and up here, or maybe whenever you shorten back here because you're now wearing body armor or whatever, now that hand stop is not in the same relative position away from you to where it can matter, right? I just don't like running hand stops on rifles. On PCCs, might be more important. On little guns that have a ton of recoil and are very unsafe and your hand might find its way in front of it, on a KSG 12 gauge, yes. On these systems right here, hard no.